now. Welcome to day two of our Alone Together Facebook Live series. Yesterday, we had a chat with Chewy Photo. Today, May 6th, we have the incredible Dawn Photo here. Her last name is not Photo. Her last name is Jarvis. And I've been calling her Dawn Photo ever since I follow her. For those of you guys who tune in for the first time ever, we have this daily from today, May 5th until May 9th. Every day, I'll bring a different guest speaker on here. And I'm so appreciative of these guys to join us today. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring Dawn up in here and I'll let her introduce herself to you guys. Give me one sec.
Hey guys.
Hi.
I'm Dawn Photo, or Dawn Jarvis.
Let me make sure that we're live on Facebook. Perfect. Okay, I can see it now. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for asking. This is so fun.
So like I said in the text message I sent you, Dawn, I was doing dishes, like literally like standing there doing dishes. And I'm like, what if I go do like a series of Facebook Live and just like, like bring all these incredible people on. And I texted you, I think I texted Chewy first and I texted you like a minute after, but like you guys are like right there, like 5 text messages going on at the same time. And I'm so grateful that you're here.
Yay, I'm so excited. This is super fun. I thought this was a really good idea for everyone who's just chilling at home, who wants to like learn from other people and just like wants to have conversation, ask questions. Like that was literally perfect.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody's been following you, but like just a quick introduction about what you do, where you're from, whatever from your heart.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'm Dawn. I'm an elopement and portrait photographer from Oregon. I live south of Portland, so I'm in like the Eugene area. I have been doing photography officially for 10 years. I've been full-time for 5 years.
No.
And
how about you though? Like 10 years?
Yeah, I've been doing it since high school. I've been getting paid since I was a senior in high school. My brother and I built a website back on like when Apple computers had iWeb. We like built my first website through iWeb. It was so cheesy, so bad. Yeah, so that was fun. And then I joined a sorority in college, and that's like it just kind of all blossomed from there. I was on the yearbook team back in high school, and my yearbook instructor was just telling every parent about me for senior photos. So that whole summer after my senior year, I was doing paid senior photos. I couldn't even believe it. And then got to college, joined a sorority, and then when they all found out that I was doing photography, it was like insane. Like when you tell the girls that you'll take photos of them, they were pretty excited. So pretty much all my first weddings were from my sorority, Sigma Kappa, and most of my like family sessions, everything was after that. And still now I book most of my destination weddings are because of the Greek life, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, so it's like good networking.
What did you go to college for?
I went to Oregon State College for Human Development, Family Sciences, Spanish, and Animal Sciences. My degree is built to work with people with special needs using horses.
That's very specific. Unique.
Well, I have a brother with special needs, and then I grew up all around horses my whole life, and so it just like the two just made sense. And so that's just kind of like what fit for me. And then I just started after I graduated. I had the opportunity to like work at a barn and do that, and then but then my photography is blowing up. So I was like, I think I'm gonna try photography for a little bit, and if I don't succeed, then I'll go back to the barn. And I've never gone back to the barn. So
you did something right.
Apparently.
So how did that first wedding started for you? Like from like you were saying, like you're working at the barn, and you're like wedding photography blew up. Like I'm pretty sure people sitting at home right now, like trying to get into this field, right? And they just want to know, how do people actually get into it? Can you share a little bit of
started to like network? Like my first like booked wedding was my sorority big sister's, like my big, if anyone speaks Greek life, my big's older sister's wedding, and I shot her wedding for $500 on a Rebel T3i with a 50mm 1.8. So like a $600 setup, and I shot the entire wedding on that, which you got to start somewhere, And so I did that, and I was so nervous the whole time. This is so embarrassing. My sorority sisters are so supportive of me switching over and like doing wedding photography that they did a mock wedding for me. They all dressed up And they got in like we all went outside and they like did a wedding for me so I could practice angles of like where to stand and where to shoot. And so I literally did 2 mock weddings with my sorority sisters before I did my first wedding. So it was crazy. So that's how I got started. And then I don't know, I think just like a lot of it's word of mouth and like doing it for friends and family. There's a lot of like Facebook groups that are like bride on a budget. And like if this is your first wedding, you can totally do that on a budget because you need to start somewhere. And then once you've done your first like maybe 2 or 3 weddings, then I can see like jumping up in price and getting a new camera, getting a new lens, and
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, you gotta start somewhere. And like when you're so new, like you don't know what you like or what camera is gonna work for you until you actually like do it for a little bit.
Yep.
So totally, like I don't think anyone should just like jump like head first and just like
$2,000 for one first wedding. Like, no.
$15,000 worth of gears just for like to try if you even like it. Like like yeah. So then from word of mouth, and then how? Because I think so. Just a little background of everybody who just tuned in right now. First of all, you have a drink, and I want to show my drink too, because yesterday we did shots, and that was a little bit too much for me. But today I have berry rosé. We'll be drinking. You have to at home, drink with us. But for those, a little story about how I followed Dawn. So I was, your eyes. I just as anybody else, I started Instagram because I wanted to do nature photos. I was doing like all the hiking photos, and on my explore page, I saw her photo, and that was the first time I feel like I saw like a couple. I think that was your Banff photo. So I can't.
Oh my god, my freaking Banff photo.
It has to be that one because it's been so long now. But I remember I'm like, okay, I guess we can do couples in nature and like what is this? And then I started following you back then, and you've been just blowing up like on Instagram left and right.
You.
Tell us more about like just how has Instagram helped you? What was the beginning part? Like when you first started your Instagram and like the dealing with likes or followers or whatever, like just your process.
I mean, oh my gosh, I think just like right when you start with Instagram, you just automatically like you post a photo and you're just like, you keep refreshing. You're like, how many people liked it? How many people have commented? Have people seen my photo? Like that's just like a natural thing. And that's totally how I was. Instagram started my, I think sophomore or junior year of college. And I remember getting it and starting like my personal Instagram and like doing like horrible filters over it. And then I just transitioned it into my like photography Instagram account. So I was like, oh, people were talking about how they were sharing their photography stuff there. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay. So I started doing that. And I just feel like once I started sharing work that like really meant a lot to me, that's where it made the huge difference. And like I would literally post a photo and be like, this is my new favorite photo. Like that would be my caption. And I'd get such good feedback because I was just being myself and being honest. And what's crazy is like back then I thought that like I was doing it wrong, but I feel like that's been what's gotten me so far, just me being honest in myself and like constantly showing who I am, like, and not trying to compare myself to other photographers who like, some people like to write like more like emotional stuff. Some people like to write like tips and tricks. Some people like to write not about the client at all, more about something else. And I just write whatever I'm feeling in that moment. And it could be any of those things. There's no right or wrong way. And I think that's what's like really helped me also not get in the head of like Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah. I like how you brought that up because I literally, not even kidding you, till this day, I'm still like every day I'm like, oh my goodness, like Chewy write his captions so emotionally and long. And I'm like, I wish I could write like that. And then I would
like that when you're like this client, this paragraph, I'm like, how does he do that? I'm just like, I really love these guys. They make me feel good. Photos make me feel good, and then that's it.
And then sometimes like I would get on like our friend like Erica's with the Greatest Adventure Wed, or like other planner who would write captions about like how to help the bride and grooms, and I'm here like, oh my god, I constantly compare myself. To be honest with you, like to this day, I'm like, I wish I could write like someone. It's like it's a nonstop thing.
We always that, and I think that that's something that everybody else feels, especially starting out as a wedding photographer. You're going to compare yourselves to people who have like a higher following than you because you think that that's how they got to where they are, and maybe it is for that person, but maybe that's not how you're going to grow and how you're going to be seen. So like you just like got to do it your way at the end of the day, because if I were to like sit there every day and spend like 3 hours writing an emotional caption, That is not how I am in real life.
I would die. One day that I open Instagram and Dawn is like this paragraph long caption of like, I'm feeling emotional. I'm going to die. I'm going to call you.
So that would be like the most or what's the word? Disgenuine, not genuine thing. See, I'm really bad with words, guys.
No, you're so right. And you talk about genuinity and like, that's you. Like you don't write emotional caption and you write about like you being excited. I feel like that's the thing. Like when I read your Instagram caption or like your Instagram stories, this is my face. Like that's my face. Like the whole time I'm reading it, it's just like I'm reading it out loud with your voice in my head, and my face is like,
yes.
And I think that's part of yesterday. I don't. Some of you guys tuned in yesterday, and we talked about brand identity. And I think this is your brand identity. Like this is the way that you are. Like when people look at your work and they can feel a certain way and like have a certain emotion out of them. It's not when I talk about emotion too. Like I don't mean emotional. Like you know what I mean?
Like
emotion.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The emotion that people get from you is like the excitement, the like, yes, today we're going to try this. Today we're going to go explore that. Yeah. We all need a professional hype person, AKA Dawn Photo in our life.
I'll be any great hype girl, promise.
Yeah. And for those of you guys who are asking questions right now, keep asking us questions. If something pops into your head, we won't address anything right now until the end of our live, just so that Dawn can just finish her thought process and we can talk about whatever else. But we'll take questions for sure. And just like yesterday, for every question that you ask, instead of shots, today we're just taking a sip of whatever drink.
I'm trying to drink it all right now.
So we've been talking about like social media as an Instagram. What other social media are you doing? Do you do Facebook? Do you do?
Yeah, a little bit. I do a little bit of Facebook. I'm not as like, I need to work a lot harder on that. But I've been trying to put a lot of my efforts into Pinterest right now. And I actually was going to ask you a question because you and I do it so differently. I've been studying your Pinterest. So,
oh no.
Okay, so the way I do my Pinterest is I just have like all my boards that fit my brain, like my personality. So I have like, you know, ones about like clothes and gifting and like couples photos, wedding photos, like that kind of stuff. And then I have like, you know, like within the couples photos and wedding photos, I have my photos and I have other people's photos like mixed into it. And then you do your Instagram where it's strictly your work and you have a bunch of folders based off of only your work and that's it.
Yes, and I've seen it. I mean, since we're talking about Pinterest, I've seen it both ways. I've seen it like you, where people do both, and I've seen it my way, where I only do my photos and I don't save other people's photos. I think mostly because I want when people go onto my Pinterest. So okay, just to summarize, the whole point of Pinterest. First of all, I think I'm going all around here, but the whole point of Pinterest is so that you gain this pool of mostly brides. We're talking about inclusivity yesterday, and it's an ongoing theme. Like Dawn and I, we shoot same sex. We shoot Aniket, whatever, but a lot of brides, mostly female audience, they're on Pinterest to plan their wedding, and what your goal is to attract these people to follow you on Pinterest before they even get engaged.
Totally.
I mean, that's a common thing. I was in nursing school once. I knew how it is, like sitting in the back and all of my nursing friends in the front, just like Pinterest wedding. And they're not even engaged, you know? So I think either way, if I'm pinning my own photos, you pinning inspiration so that people who follow you on Pinterest could learn about a certain style, I don't think it's gonna hurt anyway. But as long as you're pinning consistently and cohesively in a way, if you pin someone else's photo, maybe you pin like a pair of shoes from something else, but that pair of shoes is very like it go with the whole theme that you're doing, which is adventure photos with that kind of shoes. Then I don't think it's gonna hurt. If anything, you just give people more inspirations.
Yeah. So do you have a pin for yourself at all? Do you have secret boards?
So I don't plan a lot of stuff, so I don't pin anything. Like I just literally like I do know other photographers who are like both like into using Pinterest to advertise their business and using Pinterest to save inspiration.
Yeah.
Those people, they do have secrets
Okay.
boards
Well,
that I have heard of. Yeah.
So yeah, that's like something that I like am taking in with this quarantine is like wanting to try more in Pinterest. So I bought the Junebug course and I'm gonna take that course. And then I'm probably gonna try it your way, Henry, and make all my boards secret and just start fresh and just pin my stuff and see what happens.
What if I mean, there's no better time to try that than now.
Yeah.
Way, like when we have more downtime than normal, than usual, then try that. Give it like, I would say 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a bit, and I might keep some boards up that are like travel adventure, like that kind of stuff that aren't like photography, like that you'd book a client from, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like other people would find a wedding photographer. But I think I'm gonna try that and see how that works for me, and I'll share about it on my Instagram and how my process is going and if it's working out for me. So if anyone wants to keep me accountable for that, do that.
Yeah. So for someone who's sitting at home right now and struggling with like social media, like in general, like doesn't matter, Instagram, Pinterest, or whatever, what would your one advice to like, what would something that they should pay attention to or think of?
For like their social media?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I just like being more consistent and like being there, like you just showing your face, and that could be a boomerang of you making your coffee in the morning, or just like walking your dogs, or that you're editing, a time lapse of you editing, like just something where you're showing up and you're being present and you're showing yourself. I think that's like so key. I know it's really hard. A lot of people are like, oh, how do you talk on your stories? Like, how do you do that? Like, I'm so nervous, I can't. Like, you just gotta do it. And there's so many cute filters now. Like, it doesn't make you feel so nervous. Like, and because it's not live, you can try it over and over until you feel comfortable. So that's also a win. But honestly, just like being yourself and just getting into it, I think that's like, I don't know, I feel like that's like super important, and just like being there. If you just like don't show your face ever and don't ever show like things that make you besides photography, your clients aren't going to connect with you besides like, oh, she or he has really pretty photos. Like they're not going to see more than that. They want, like when people book Henry, they know that he's going to downward twerk on his wedding day and like do all this crazy stuff. And they know with me that I'm going to bring tequila and we're going to take shots, or something like that. So like, that's just like people get into that personality and they like want to be friends with you and want to book you for that. So I feel like just like showing up and showing your personality is the most important thing about social media. And that could be Facebook, Instagram, and like Pinterest, making boards that are your personality also. And that could be your way of doing it there.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned Insta stories and show like different things about your life, or like just a boomerang. The reason why I said that is I am very self-conscious about my voice, about my accent. I wasn't born in the States. So then when I know that I have an accent, so I'm very self-conscious about that. And that's something that I've been working on like forever. And so for going live like this with you and with like everybody else this week is like, I'm shitting brick. Like I can't, like this is me stepping out of my comfort zone. But if you guys follow me on Instagram, you don't hear me talk on like Insta stories. Like, I think the one time I talked was a couple of days ago when I say something about, oh, you guys follow me on, like, I don't know. I can't remember. I think I tell people to vote for me for Junebug weddings or whatever. But for someone who's like, I don't like showing my face a whole lot. So I do like this half face thing, or I usually do a boom and then I type out words that I want to say instead of actually saying it out loud, versus someone like Dawn, who like she talks on Insta stories and people, there's I think the main thing to pay attention to is there's different kind of population, different kind of people that would like different things. And so, and I don't think there's a wrong way. If anything, you just attract the people that you can vibe with. And there's, and if people who you cannot vibe with, it's not a problem. It's just, you're just attracting the kind of client that you can communicate with.
100%. And like, I've made it a point to like, there's like, I have like a deaf community who follows me, who is also a photographer. So I make sure that on every story I post that I write what I'm saying, like a smaller version of it. they've made it a point, like, I really want to hear what you're saying, but I can't. And so I've made it a point to like caption my stories almost for them. And like with the IGTVs, I've been doing a YouTube version that has captions or like subtitles on it for them, because it's important for them to see it too.
Yeah. Damn. How can we make caption in this? I don't know how.
They're not very good. I just sit there for 2 hours and retweak it all.
So do you have any goals with like strategy with Instagram, as in like, do you post every day? Do you post every other day? How many, like, what would someone who's new at home, not talking about like, you know, because I think at a certain stage when, like for you, you're so established that in a way you can attract people from Pinterest. For someone who's sitting at home right now and they're so new at Instagram, what would something they be strategizing for like Instagram?
You guys can plan your posts out. There's apps that you can plan. So I try to plan every Sunday for the rest of the week. And so
Sunday?
I try. It doesn't always happen, but I get really overwhelmed, like, because I do like a bunch of other stuff. Like I like to stay busy with not just photography things and like just spending time with my husband and my dogs. Like I don't want to be on Instagram all the time. So I downloaded Unum. It's like UNUM. And so I just try to plan my feed out for the week. And that way every day, if I remember to get on Instagram, I at least like have a plan of what I'm going to post. So I'm not just so like, oh my God, I don't know what to post. I need to get on my computer. I need to edit something. I need to send to my phone. Like that is going to overwhelm me and make me anxious. So I'd rather have like a plethora of photos to choose from and like a folder on my phone, put them into Unum, see how it looks for the next week, and then just post those that week. And then just like showing up in your stories, like I said, just like be there. If you don't want to post that day, just post what movie you're watching. Like you can be like, yeah, I'm having a me day. It's COVID, whatever, and watch Twilight all day. That's a win in my book, 100%. About it. You got to post that you're watching Twilight. It's important.
Yeah, I did. The one time I watched Twilight from like 8 p.m. to like 4 in the morning. I did. Plug for Twilight. There's a new book. No, we're not getting paid for this.
Coming out. Swipe up.
We do not get paid for saying this.
No, I
so I think I only have one last like planned question for you, and then the rest after this we can take questions from you guys who's watching. Just type up your question here and we can bring it up to the screen and just answer everything. My last question for you is, what have you been up to during quarantine? What have you been doing to keep yourself inspired?
Ooh, what have I been doing to keep myself inspired? Let's see. I don't know. Honestly, like just hang out with my family and like, I don't know. I've just been trying to like think of things that I want to do. So I've been writing. I'm a list person, so I write a lot of lists. I've been thinking of new ways to creatively shoot because I love like shooting through stuff. Like I love shooting through my hair. I love shooting through like grass. So I've been trying to come up with other things that I can shoot through to get like another vision in my photos. Olivia Markle is a really amazing photographer from Arizona, and she talked about, this is so foul, you guys. She talked about putting her sweat on her face, like on her camera, and it gets these epic light rays. Like no joke, the coolest light rays. So I'm like so pumped to try that. That's on my list. And like I got some like little like dried bunny tails that I want to shoot through. So I put them in like little baggies I can bring them to my next photo shoot. Like just like little things like that I'm like, what else? Like, I don't know. I love shooting through. So like I want to find something else I can do it through. I found this really cool prism set on Amazon that has like, they're so cool. Oh my gosh. So just like different stuff that I can try just to like keep myself creative. Things that I feel like are already like, I love your GIFs. Like they're the coolest thing ever. But I just cannot figure that out for the life of me. You taught me 15 times and I still can't figure it out. So that's just not for me. So for me, it's like shooting through stuff is so on brand for me, but also makes me but it makes me feel good every time I do it. So like that's what it's for me, and I'm literally obsessed with it. So
I mean, you when Dawn and I were in Banff National Park together last year, we just happened to be there at the same time. We didn't plan on being there together at the same time, but then we met up and Dawn took photos of my husband and I. And when I got photos back from you, I was like, oh, you're shooting through like branches and leaves and it just made it more magical in a way.
I love it. It's so fun. Ooh, I haven't tried plastic. I've done Ziploc bags, but I haven't done plastic wrap. I saw that comment in there.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I've learned the Ziploc bag from
Yeah.
you.
That one's easy. Pop a hole in it and you can use it all the time.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing all these tips and tricks. So before we take questions, just a little. Wait, it's opposite side. Okay, so I'm wearing Dawn's shirt today. It's a Wander Workshop. This was the one that we did in Zion.
Zion.
This photo with Annie Graham and Dawn last year. That was really fun. And just like we talked earlier, we're going to take questions from you guys. I'm going to scroll all the way up just to see what we missed. And for every question, we're going to drink something.
Yes, we still have 2 more workshops coming this year, Mount Hood and Joshua Tree that have spots open. So.
Oh, wait, what dates?
October 19th through 21st in Oregon, Mount Hood, and November 9th through 11th in Joshua Tree. I'm going to post it to my Wander Workshop Instagram. So check
Wow. 1 month after another.
Yeah, and then we have Manzanita in between.
Yes.
3 workshops. So
yeah. So for those of you guys who are watching too, you see the question here and they say Facebook user. Well, on this other system, it doesn't tell us who you are. The only way we know is to go back onto Facebook after the live video. So I apologize for that. Dawn already talked about this. So this is just like an example. Like it said, Dawn, tell us about your photo journey. I think we started with that, like your photo journey of like the whole thing. So we'll skip this one. And then this is a little shout out for you. Love your campfire presets. Tell us about your campfire presets.
So I released a collaborative preset pack with G Presets with Greg Peterson. He's from California. We made this epic preset pack that literally looks like the mountains in my paintings. It's like the opposite on the camera. Basically, they're just super filmy, grainy, warm. They keep the blues though. Oh, they're the best. Every preset has a film version, so you can up and down the film in it, and it's, you guys, I'm pumped. So check them out. Go to presets.
That looks so good. I've been following your Insta stories and like all the people that purchase the preset. Everything looks really good.
It's been so cool to see how people are using them. I love it.
All right. So first real question, and we're gonna let's 1, 2, 3, cheers, and we'll do this one. 1, 2, 3, cheers. How can I show more about my personal life on my Instagram if I'm a bit shy?
So yeah, you can just start with like boomerangs and just photos that you've like edited that like look like your feed and be like, oh, these are my dogs. Like, this is what I'm watching. This is the book I'm reading. It can be that simple, or it can be a photo of what you're editing. A tip that really helped me get comfortable with like talking on Instagram stories, because it used to be like, I hated doing it. I use the app Marco Polo. It's like a video chat app, and I video chat all my best friends. And I actually do that also with people like my copy editor, like that kind of stuff. And so I've been able to use it for a bunch of ways, but it's basically a camera that like, it's your camera watching you talk, and it's really annoying and I hate it. And then you send it to people and they watch it. And it's made me super comfortable with like talking on Marco Polo, which now feels like whenever I talk on Instagram, it feels like I'm talking with my best friends. So that's helped a ton.
Yeah. I think another thing that I noticed I've learned from you too is that sometimes you don't even have to show your face, like if you're driving to, let's say with the stay-at-home being lifted in so many states and you're allowed to go outside and you're allowed to go on a hike, you can even just like film the sceneries around you, like where you're going today.
Or just like any of the cool filters on Instagram, and just like that way it like ties into your brain, like your style, makes you feel good. And then just show what you're up to. And it like you said, just like could be a cool video where you're at. I love doing when I'm out back with the dogs. I just take a photo of like my hand holding my coffee and my dogs are running around the background, because I'm not wearing makeup. My hair does not look like this at all. So no one needs to see that.
This hair does not look like this when I wake up.
Naturally have it gelled sideways.
Always. Yeah, so with you showing like where you're going to, that could show your potential clients that that's somewhere that you can take them. Like, hey, like I know about these beautiful places that you might not have seen on the internet, because like I'm the expert in my field of whatever.
Yeah,
that was a good one. There's a lot of, hey friend, miss you, love all of these. Oh, Nick. Oh, how come once again Nick in Facebook shows that his face. Say what?
He must have this app that we're on.
Yes, I think so. Because yeah, yesterday, same thing. When Nick was on, we saw his face and his name and everything.
So awesome. Nick, if you're still there, hi.
Hi again. All right. This is a good one. At what point did you decide that you were going to go full time?
Oh, cheers.
Yes.
Okay, so I was really lucky when I decided that I wanted to like not pursue what I went through with college, and I decided to end up working at a camera shop. It's like a local shop here in Eugene, and I worked there for about 2.5 years. I bought all the camera gear I needed, all the lenses, everything, working with like the Canon discount, which is pretty solid. And then I just kind of decided that every morning I was shooting before I go to work, and then every afternoon I was shooting after work, and all day at work I was emailing or editing or whatever if there wasn't like customers in the store. And I just decided at one point, I was like, I need to go for it. And my boss told me if I wanted a job back, she was like, we'll hire you back. Like, just, let us know. Like, we love you here. So we want you back. Like, if you want to come back. And I was living in my mom's like guest house. I wasn't paying rent, and my job was willing to have me back. So I was like, this is the time. Like, I have the security blanket to like come back if it doesn't work out. But the second I quit my job at the camera shop, I literally skyrocketed because I was able to give my full amount of like energy and time into photography. It's when I booked my first destination wedding. It was like 3 weeks after I quit. So I was actually posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook. I was like totally there and being consistent. And I was shooting more, I was editing faster, I was emailing faster, I was doing everything faster because I had the time to do it. And so I think if you are ready to go full time, and now might even be a great time because you have the time and energy to build up a new website, get branding, like, all the things that you need to like, go full throttle, then now might be the time to do it because you have all this time to do it. So yeah.
I like that you brought up security blanket, because that's so important that you can just go. Like, you have to build up to a certain like a momentum, like that you're going. And did you feel like at that time were you like getting super busy with so many bookings?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was booking a decent amount of like families and seniors and engagements and weddings, but they're all local. And then I only wanted to do travel weddings at that point. And I was like, I can't travel if I have my job. Like, I can't. And so, because they weren't going to give me enough time off. And when you're new at a job, you work weekends. So I was like, I never get weekends off. Like, it was so hard. And finally I was like, I'm just going to go for it and we'll see what happens. And I booked my first couple destination weddings that year. I traveled all the time. I was able to finally do like my adventure sessions. Like, I could just go to the Redwoods or could go to the Oregon coast. That was 4 hours away. Like, that wasn't a problem anymore because I had the time to do it and I wasn't on another job.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the next question is also super good. When shooting at a national park, who is the one responsible to get permit, the client or you?
Oh gosh, cheers.
Cheers.
I don't know. I think it kind of depends on the park. Some parks I think require the photographer to do it, and some parks require the client to do it. Like, when I got married at Diablo, North Cascades, we didn't need a photographer's permit. We just needed a permit for us to get married there. And there wasn't a permit for a photographer. So I think it really just depends.
Yeah. And the one thing you should learn from this is there's a permit. There's always a permit.
Yeah.
At any national park that you're going to, there's a permit, not the entrance pass. Like, a lot of people get confused that, I have the America, the beautiful pass. Like, I can just go in, and that's a different thing. But each of the national park has their own website, and the rules and regulations are so clear on there.
Different for every park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if this person, I'm sorry, we cannot see your name here, so we cannot address you by name, and I apologize. But if you want us to clarify on like whether who's paying for the permit, like, is that something that they want? Let's just say this is the question, like, who's paying for the permit? What would you say in this situation?
Okay, like, let's say I had like 7 weddings in Yosemite, and I had to buy one permit to cover all those 7 weddings. I would pay for it myself. But if I only had one wedding, my client was flying me out there for that one wedding, and that's it, I'd make them pay.
Okay.
That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
How would you do it?
Well, I usually, if it's a permit to get married, then the client would pay for it. Like, for example, let's just talk about like a national park where there's a permit to get, like Mount Rainier National Park. If you wanted to have a couple get married at Mount Rainier, the couple needs to get a permit to get married. I have to get a permit to photograph, because the permit to get married has their personal information on it. They would have to be the one who applied for it and might as well pay for it. The photography permit is my information on it. So I apply for it and I pay for it.
Yeah.
But then if you want to talk about pricing and all-inclusive pricing, or you charge them again, then that's a different conversation. That's about your branding, how you charge people. Just the same thing as like, do you charge for travel, or like, do you charge for mileage? Like that's a different conversation.
That's something I would do too, though. Like my packages are all inclusive too. So I would just like, if it was like a $70 payment, I'm not going to go ask my client for it. I'm just including that within my travel payments, like for their full package fee. I'm not going to be like, oh, you owe me $70 for this permit. Like, no, it's part of their package at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. I do the exact same thing. Yeah. So that was a good one.
That was a good one.
Okay. Okay. I'm scrolling down. This question is for me, but I think both of us can answer. Henry, how do you plan your feed on Instagram? How often do you post? Cheers. Don't forget. For those of you who's watching, I do not drink every day. just this week. So how do you plan my feed on Instagram? Exact same thing as Don. I use the app called, I don't know how to say it. You say Unum. I think in my head I just think of Unnum. Like, I don't know why. I think I added another extra N, but the typing is UNUM. I don't plan ahead because I'm a lazy person. So what would happen is, today, if I feel so inspired, or let's say I just photographed an elopement 2 days ago, I got some sneak peeks ready already, and I'm so excited to share those photos on my Instagram. What I would do is use Unnum to see if the next photos when I post, would it look the same? Would it look okay on my feed compared to the photo I posted last time? If a certain photo would not look good with what's going on, I would wait a little bit more, just so that I can drag photos, just so aesthetically the whole feed would look good and cohesive and consistent in terms of colors and posing. And I don't want, so for example, we all take the photo of the bride and the groom or the couple just kissing like this, right? But I don't want to post those 3 photos in a row and then that just make my feed look boring, and that I'm not creative, and that I don't know anything else except for the traditional typical pose. So that's why I use that. That's what I use that app for. How often do I post? So this year and last year has not been what I had done when I first started out. If you're sitting at home and you're starting out right now, I would recommend post as often as you can, just so that you can show more variety of what you can do, where you go, stuff like that, to excite people. This past year was 2019 was wild. 2019 was, just everything was just happening all together at the same time. I was still working at the hospital with like sleeping daytime, working night shift, and then go take photos. I didn't have the time and the energy to engage when I post on Instagram, so I don't post as much anymore. Literally the other day, I looked like, how many photos did I post in the month of April? And there was only like 6 photos. I posted 6 times in April, compared to a year ago, that would have been like about 20 photos. Compared to a year before that, that would have been 30 photos in a month, like every day, religiously at like 11 a.m. or something like that. What about you? How often do you post now?
I post probably like once a week now. When I started, I used to post twice a day. Like, that's like what I did. Like, I post in the morning, I post at night. And anybody who commented to me, I commented back. And now I still try, like, if anyone like comments my photo within the first like 30 minutes to an hour, I try so hard to respond, because it does make a huge difference with your engagement. And I just like love responding to people. Like, if they're taking the time out of their day to respond to me and like comment my photo, like I want to respond to them. But it's so hard when like it just life happens. Like I'm gonna go make dinner, do dishes. Like I can't just sit there on Instagram and respond to people, you know. So
And I think what people need to understand is like there's a difference between like hustling until you are able to get a certain kind of clients that you don't have to hustle as hard, or like now your hustling techniques and your whatever you have to hustle is in a different spectrum, and it looks different from engaging on Instagram. So we still hustle, but we just do it. There's different things to hustle about. Yeah. Now that I like talking about that. Okay. If I want more destination weddings, what should I do?
Wait, sure. I want to do boomerang. 1, 2, 3. Wait.
Wait, did I redo?
Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. It's totally lagged.
So that's how Dawn is showing her personality on Insta story right now.
Gotta keep it consistent, guys. Okay, if I want to do more destination weddings, what should I do? You need to travel. If you want to travel, like if you want weddings in Utah and you've never been to Utah, you need to get your butt over to Utah, bring some friends, make them model for you, shoot the crap out of everything, post about it, blog about it, SEO, Instagram it, talk about in your stories how much you love shooting in Utah. Utah's your thing. Utah, Utah, Utah. That's what I would do. And that's what I did. Like, that's how I became a traveling photographer. I wanted to go to Banff. I went to Banff. I wanted to go to Utah. I went to Utah. Like, if you spend like $1,500 of your own money to go do this epic trip and you book one wedding off of that and you're charging them $1,500, you just made it back. So you have to think like you got to spend the money to make the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And then another thing too, if you live in the middle of, I'm just going to pick on Oklahoma because I used to live in Oklahoma, where everything is flat, no mountain, no water, and you want to book a Hawaii destination wedding in Hawaii, it's not, I mean, how can someone trust that you can photograph in that setting or scenario if on your feed you don't show that you've been to places like that, you know? And for destination wedding, I mean, even in places that you haven't been before, if you only show that you shoot locally within your city, within your town, it might be tough to get destination work. But if you start traveling just within the United States, and then or wherever country that you're from, the more you travel within your own area, then people can trust that you can travel to other area, and so you might get booked to places that you haven't even been before.
I think a big part of it too is if you're already traveling, like let's say you really want a wedding in Oregon, you've never been to Oregon, and you want to do one at the Oregon coast, you need to go to the Oregon coast and figure out all these epic spots, take landscape photos. If you don't have a client with you, just like go and take photos. You can draw little people on and be like, look how cool a wedding would be right here. I know how to get there. I know how long the drive is. I know the Airbnb is nearby. I know all the stuff. And at that point, you're like an educator for that spot. Like you're a resource for your client to that location. So if they wanted to elope in Oregon coast in that spot, you can be so much more than just their photographer. Like you can help them in so many ways. And I think that stands out a lot as like a traveling wedding photographer. Like you need to have more than just like, oh, I'll shoot you guys in that spot. It needs to be more like, I know that spot. I'm going to help you. It's going to be great. Like I got this.
Yeah. Yeah, that totally makes sense. All right. The next question is, when will you advise a client to hire a second shooter? Cheers.
Okay, if a client wanted a second photographer at their wedding, I would hire the second photographer 100%. It would be my choice who I hire because I need someone I trust. I need someone who has the right camera gear that works with my camera gear, that it makes it easier for me to edit both the photos. And I mean, if you're shooting elopements, you're not gonna typically have a second shooter. So I haven't worked with a second shooter in a long time because that doesn't really happen at elopements because you're already trying to have such a small number of people that it's hard to have like, oh, like let's bring another photographer, you know. But if you're shooting a bigger wedding, you need to hire someone that you trust. I've had clients ask in the past, like, oh, can we hire our cousin as your second? And I'm like, no, like no way, because I don't trust them. I have no idea how they're gonna work alongside me, if they're gonna like mess me up and make it a harder process. So that needs to be somebody that you trust. They can pay you and then you can pay out your second shooter, or they can just pay your second shooter, but it has to be something that you've chosen.
Yeah, 100%. You don't want them just hire someone that you don't know. And
My
like,
contract says they can't. Like they literally cannot
right.
hire somebody else because
Yeah.
they try and start to do that because they want a deal. Then their cousin has a camera. Their Uncle Bob has a camera. That's not what you want second shooting their wedding.
Right. So we'll take one more question, and then after that, we'll let Don. It's been like 45 minutes, so just one more question. When you get a permit, do you need to inform your insurance agent in case of maybe any emergency or injuries during photo shoot?
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
I need a double cheers on this one. I'm honest. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea. I've never called my insurance agent about a permit or a travel wedding. I just have insurance. I have business insurance, and I get the permit. So I'm going to be totally honest. I've never called my insurance agent about a travel wedding like that.
Yeah, I haven't either.
No.
You know, just like, I mean, the insurance agent is more like, because I think what I'm trying to understand this question a little bit better. When you get a permit, you need to inform. When the permit is only to allow you to shoot at some place.
Right. That has nothing to do with, like, your client. That's your contract.
Right. And it just in anywhere you go, doesn't matter if the place require a permit or not, there's always a chance that something's going to happen to your clients, right? Like you're directing them and they run and they tripped and fall on something. Yeah. Things can happen. So it doesn't mean you have to call your insurance agent every single time that you go on a photo shoot. I would only call them if you need clarification on something that you're so unsure of. When in doubt, call them and ask. And then once you get your answer the first time ever, then you know that the next time you don't have to call about this. But so far from personal experience, I didn't think that it was a thing that I have to do in order to let them know in advance. Unless I go somewhere very sketchy, which I'm a chicken and I don't go to sketchy places.
Ever. You call me?
No, I'm not. So yeah, I think that was the last question that we took. Let me hide this one. So thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. I think before we let Dawn go, I just want Dawn to talk about a little bit about she talked about her workshops already, but if people want to learn more about what you do, your tools, do you have anything that like online courses, templates that you sell, preset, anything at all? Just let us know so that we can follow along and learn more from you.
Cool. Okay, so if you want to attend a workshop, the Instagram is Wander Workshop. That's it. Super easy. We have those 2 workshops coming up at the end of the year. Super excited about. So if you want to come to Oregon or Joshua Tree, let me know. You can also just DM me and I can send you the info. I have my presets that are out and I'm so pumped about them. We'll be talking about more on Friday. I think I'm going to do like a live video of me editing with them so you guys get to see. I'll add it to my IGTV so you can kind of see more hands-on with me editing with them. I also am giving back to the Dornbecker Hospital. We're donating part of the proceeds to that, and that's like a really, really important part of it for me. And so anybody who buys the presets is helping out that hospital, and that just like warms my heart a lot because of what we went through. And then I also, if you're into senior portraits and do like high school senior photos, I have a posing guide on my Dawn Photo website. So, and I'm actually releasing a senior rep guide soon. So if you want to start booking senior reps, I don't know if you guys are all on the same pace I am, but not a lot of people are booking weddings right now. For me, a lot of people are booking seniors. I am booking seniors left and right now, and that's my main income coming in right now. So for me, my senior rep team has been my biggest supporters and like my little team working for me locally to book me business. So if you guys are in that stage and you want to book seniors, let me know and I can hook you up with the guides.
That's awesome. I'll look up all the links and I'll include it in so what's happening after this is this video is going to go onto YouTube. So all the links will be in the description box. And then this will go onto my blog post on my website, which I will include the links as well so that you guys don't miss out on anything. Once again, thank you so much, Dawn, for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, tomorrow we have more awesome guest instructors coming on until Saturday, I think. Yes, Saturday. So one last cheers and I'll let you go. 1, 2, 3. Cheers.